We should be up, and just want to invite folks to join in. Got questions? Yep, I'm not re-looping myself. Apologize for that error. Hope everybody's doing well today. And I'm just going to connect with Scott so he can, since I can't see the chat, he can read it to me. Maybe if I can get my phone to work. So if you would, just let us know that you're there on either YouTube or on Facebook, and just check in. And if you've got some questions, to pop those up in the chat, and be glad to try to answer them. Don't have answers to everything. So I got Scott now on the line, and appreciate his good work in helping me do this every Sunday. And appreciate everybody joining us for worship today. It's a little bit chilly outside, but the sun is shining, and going to be a beautiful day, I think, if maybe a little bit chilly, but still outstanding to spring day. We've got some folks joining. I can see the feed rolling. I just can't see what folks are saying. So Scott's going to give me that information and comments as you go, and really we can talk about the sermon, we can talk about worship, we can talk about what's going on in the life of the church, or any other things that are going on with you. Good. Absolutely. We want to wish all of those folks in our lives who nurture and care for us and sustain us, as mothers or as aunts or as friends who have taken on that role in our lives. We are thankful for those people. Sure. Carolyn Orozco asked about doorstep. So this is when we were planning to do a By the Case, that campaign that we do every year, and we support Doorstep with stocking their shelves, and in front of me here on the table, you can't see it, but typically at this point we would start seeing the chancel filled up with food, boxes of food and cases of food. And we're not able to do that this year because we're not here in the space together. And so what we're doing instead is an electronic campaign. We're encouraging you to make a donation through the church to Doorstep to support their ministry and their ongoing work with the most vulnerable in our community. Doorstep reaches out. They have a food pantry, they have a closed closet, and they have continued to operate through this time with some changes in their setup and their system. But they do important work in Topeka and Shawnee County, and we want to continue to support them in that. And so we've shifted the direction of our efforts, and everything's going to be through a gift of money. And so we set it up on our give site via our website, that you can make a contribution to the church and earmark it to Doorstep, or you can mail in a check to the church, and we'll make sure it gets earmarked for Doorstep and sent on to them. That'll help them stock their shelves and take care of their essential needs so that they can respond to the needs of the most vulnerable in our community. So thanks, Carolyn, for that information and that reminder. And thank you for helping get the information out to the congregation about that important ministry. So what's everybody doing today, this morning, this afternoon? If you don't have questions for me, I'll turn the tables and ask a question of you. So at the Howard Schultz house, Donna is going to be getting seafood. Scott's cooking seafood for her today in celebration of Mother's Day. Good for Donna. And Scott, thanks for taking good care of her. So Paxton and Janie celebrated with their daughters and I'm assuming additional extensions in that family yesterday. And so my mom says the sun is shining in Tennessee too. And Michelle is getting together with her family. And just want to say a shout out again to Michelle for sharing that story 2 Sundays ago. It still gives me goosebumps when I think about that, when I picture Alexa in my mind serving communion at worship time. That's just such a powerful image. Thank you for sharing that. Teresa Ryan shared that they celebrated yesterday. That's great. Yeah. So BJ and the Alderson clan are gathering later today for dinner, kind of the first time that they've been together since the quarantine began. Okay, Kay, you have a question about information regarding tomorrow's meeting. Is it the general information of the meeting time, which is at 7 o'clock via Zoom, and we send out the link, and we'll send a reminder email tomorrow that includes the link again. If you do not want to download Zoom on your computer, you can call in, and you can also join just via your web browser. That option still is supposed to work on Zoom, and you can choose that option instead of downloading the app onto your computer. It's not a problem to download the app. It doesn't take up a lot of space, and it generally runs for everyone. But if you prefer not to, you can do that. And if you can't do that or don't want to do that either, you can call in. It's just not as easy to. You can't see other people's faces and things like that, but you can call in and listen. Kay, does that cover the information you were curious about, or are there other particulars? Yeah, here's mine. Tracy has made several for our household, and we have them on a cycle of washing and cleaning them, and so that multiple layers and all those different pieces, and finding ways in which to do the ear hooks. Really appreciate her ingenuity, because I really don't have a clue how to sew. I can't even put a button on. Michelle, please let her know that I was so proud of her too, and I apologize for her being embarrassed. I never would want to do that, but it was just such a powerful image. I have not been able to let go of that image. Whenever I think about communion, I keep having that in my mind's eye. So the Earl and Shelley Aldridge are smoking chicken at the lake. They're camping. They're campground host this summer up at Lake Perry, and the Powells are joining them, I understand. For the Copenhavers, it is a day of campfires and fishing. You've shown some great pictures of some great catches. Victoria, keep that up. That's a great opportunity to spend time with the kids. Okay. I'm curious about Kay's question. Kay, if you're still on, if you can let me know if we covered that information that you wanted to get reiterated, or if there were some additional questions related to that conversation tomorrow night at 7 on Zoom. Well, while we're waiting for additional comments and questions to come in, I want to put something out there. Hey, I'm looking for somebody who could run a bingo game on Zoom. We've got the Zoom account set up, and we've got all the pieces to make this happen and the directions for making it happen. We can get all of that out, but I need somebody to be the host and the number caller. And maybe that's 2 people. And we were just thinking that might be a way that we could have some time together midweek, different points in time during the week. Maybe that's a Thursday evening or something, and just a chance to connect in an additional way. So if you're interested in that, if you'd personal message me by texting me at 785-817-9777, or by emailing me at dmatherly@fcctopeka.org. I would that'd be the best way to follow up on that and contact me. But so I'm looking for somebody who could be the coordinator and the number caller for online bingo game. Okay, so we covered the time, the date and the time, and kind of what's going on with that meeting tomorrow night and ways in which you can join. If you've got other questions, please also let us know. Contact us at the office by email is going to be the fastest, or by text, and we're glad to help you out. So that number, the phone number that's in the Zoom call down there, is followed by the meeting ID number. You will need to put that in when you call in, unless you are reading that message on your phone and you're able to just hit that link and it takes you to the call, and then it should automatically feed it in. Sam Jenkins, Diane asked for prayers for Sam. He's continuing to recover at home, but pain is a challenge, and eating too. And so we want to keep Sam in our prayers. And there's going to be some additional appointments coming up this week to follow up on his condition. Hang in there, Sam. Great, Patty. Thanks for sharing that. Patty's sister Lori is going home from the hospital. She had a seizure and stroke that impacted her, and she's been in the hospital the past couple of weeks. And so we're glad to hear that she's going home later this week. Thank you for sharing that. Other questions that folks have? Okay. So we're continuing to, think about how do we connect with folks and expand our ministry and find different ways. If you're on YouTube, we put morning prayers up each day, as well as Sunday worship on Sundays. If you're on Facebook, there's a little more activity because of the nature of the feed that goes along with Facebook and the ways in which that works. So we encourage you, if you're not connected with First Christian Church, if you haven't liked First Christian Church of Topeka, like the page. And if you're a member of the church, a regular participant here in the life of the congregation, let us know. We'll be glad to add you to the closed group. It's kind of the way to think about those two pages. The First Christian Church of Topeka page faces outward to the Facebook community, to the broader community. The First Christian Church community group faces inward, and that's really about internal communication. And so we try to push out external communication on the outward facing page, and to the congregation, to the closed group, the inwardly focused communication. So that's how those two pages work in tandem, and they're not identical. They serve two different purposes in our plan, as well as email. We've run into a couple situations where folks have changed email addresses, and we're trying to keep those updated as quickly as we can. So if you do change your email, please email Abby Phillips, our office manager, at fcctopeka@fcctopeka.org. So Abby's email address is fcctopeka@fcctopeka.org, and she can update those in the system. So please take a moment and share that information with us, and that'll be a great chance for us to get connected if we're not connected already. Okay. So there's a lot going on around us, and lots of shifts and changes with regard to the community, and we're taking steps. It's going to take some time for us to figure out how to live with this virus. I'm talking about as a broader culture and society. And it's going to take us some time as a congregation to figure out how to live with it too in our midst, and what's safe and what's not safe, and the challenges that go along with that, and the challenges of how we open the building, not the church. The church is never closed, but how do we reopen the building in a way in which we can reach out and extend the ministries that are part of us. And so tomorrow night in that chat, the two letters that have gone out the past 2 weeks have all been a part of that process. And the Monday night is really a discussion about that process and what's going on, what the board's working on, what the elders have been looking at, all those different pieces. So we really hope that you can join us at 7 o'clock on Zoom. And again, we'll email that link out again tomorrow as a reminder, tomorrow morning as a reminder. Okay, so I want to give it just a couple more minutes and see if we have some additional questions, and if not, we'll wrap up. But just want to give you a chance to get them out there if you do. Glad to try to address them. Like I said, I don't know that I can have answers for everything, but I'm glad to, one, know the question, and two, if I can, answer it. Great. So Scott says we've got about 20 folks watching, and the YouTube, this is a question, the YouTube sync with Zoom is working okay. I always get nervous when we restart that, and sometimes some of the things don't click on like they're supposed to. Okay, good. So good. So Scott said we're fairly close in sync, and all those pieces are working well together. So I think we resolved the issues that we had a few weeks ago, and we did have another system update last night. I really wish they update them at a different point in time, because then we have to reset everything on Saturday, late Saturday night or early Sunday morning. So Good. Okay. Any other questions or any other comments out there? Glad to have them and hear them. Okay. So a couple things just real quick as we wrap up today in preparation for that Zoom meeting tomorrow night. When you join, your audio will likely be off. You can click on the microphone that has probably a red line through it, and that will unmute you, and then you can talk. One of the things to be conscious of is the volume level of your system. If you use earbuds like this or earphones that plug into your system, it will generally eliminate any feedback loops. We had a feedback loop of sound at the beginning here as I was getting started because I didn't silence the loop, and so I was hearing myself talk about 4 or 5 seconds delayed, and so that can really be challenging. So earbuds or earpods can help with that. The other thing you can always do is mute yourself when you're in the call. If you're not speaking and just listening, it doesn't mute the sound that you will hear. It just mutes the speaker picking up your voice. And so that becomes an opportunity to also help out the whole system in terms of communication, and folks don't get confused. And because if you've seen any of those YouTube videos of Zoom calls that have gone awry, they're pretty funny as everybody kind of starts talking over one another, and then you get this big feedback loop of sound. It's really difficult to manage that. So just be aware of that. You're welcome to not use your video if you don't want to. If you would rather not join with video, you can still join via the Zoom app or the Zoom website, but you don't have to share your video. And so those just a couple of things that you can do as a part of that. Not everybody's comfortable with the video. It's sometimes a little bit challenging. I tell you, I'm not used to looking at the camera. It's really difficult for me to do that. I have to just really drive that home in my mind every week. Remember to look at the camera, Dale. Remember to look at the camera. Remember to look at the camera. As well as think about when you get on, just what you would prefer. And if you get on and the video is going and you'd prefer it not to, then you can click on the video and tell it to stop, and it doesn't kick you off the event. It just stops showing your video, and we'll see your name on a screen, or if you have a picture uploaded to your Zoom account, it'll show that. So a great way to just engage in communication with all the other folks in the congregation who are going to be on that call. Thanks, Andy. We're glad you enjoy the chat, and we're glad that you join us each week. We're glad that all of you do, and want to encourage you to continue to do that. So based upon the number of folks that we're getting joining the chat every week, even if there aren't a lot of questions brought forth, it seems that this is a time when folks like to connect. And so we're going to continue to do that, if for no other reason than to just have a short check-in like this as a way to connect with folks. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and wind it up. I hope you all have a great day. We're going to celebrate Mother's Day with Tracy, and I want to give a shout out to my mom, say happy Mother's Day to her. She was on here a little bit earlier. I don't know if she still is, but I love you, Mom, and you all have a good day in Crossville, and we'll hope to get to see you all soon. And shout out to Tracy and say happy Mother's Day. So thankful that I get to do life beside you, and appreciate all that you teach me about love and life. And all of you go into this day filled with God's love and grace and mercy. Amen. Thanks for joining us today. Peace be with you.